Welcome viewers to today's update, the 9th of January. Iran is currently witnessing one of the most significant and widespread uprisings in its recent history. What began as scattered protests over economic grievances has rapidly evolved into a powerful, nationwide movement demanding fundamental change. Demonstrations have erupted in over 100 cities, from major metropolises like Tehran and Isfahan to smaller towns across the country, showing the breadth and depth of public discontent. The initial sparks were ignited by soaring inflation, a collapsing currency, and widespread unemployment. For millions of Iranians, the cost of basic necessities like food and housing has become unbearable. But these economic frustrations are deeply intertwined with decades of political repression and social restrictions. The chants heard on the streets today are not just about bread. They are about freedom, dignity, and justice. Protesters are openly calling out systemic corruption, demanding an end to the ruling establishment, and challenging the very foundations of the Islamic Republic. Slogans that were once whispered in private are now being shouted publicly, a clear sign that the barrier of fear is breaking down. The government's response, to be honest, has been pathetic, and many are calling them a paper tiger. Yet they have started ramping up in a desperate attempt to control the narrative and prevent protesters from organizing. Authorities have implemented a near-total internet blackout. This digital curtain has plunged the country into an information vacuum, making it incredibly difficult for a clear picture to emerge. The goal is to isolate the protesters, disrupt their communication, and stop the flow of images and videos that could galvanize more support, both domestically and internationally. Despite these measures, harrowing reports continue to leak out. Eyewitness accounts and fragmented videos paint a grim picture of the state's crackdown. Security forces, including the Basij militia and riot police, have been deployed in massive numbers. They have used tear gas, water cannons, and batons to disperse crowds. More alarmingly, there are credible reports of live ammunition being used against unarmed demonstrators in several cities. Human rights organizations are sounding the alarm. They report that thousands of people have been arrested, their whereabouts and conditions often unknown. The number of casualties is climbing daily, with dozens, possibly hundreds, killed in the clashes. These figures are difficult to verify due to the information blackout and government restrictions, but the stories shared by families and activists are heartbreaking. Hospitals are reportedly overwhelmed, and medical staff have been warned against treating protesters or speaking to the media. The international community is watching closely. World leaders and human rights advocates have condemned the violent crackdown and called on the Iranian government to respect the rights of its citizens to peaceful assembly and free expression. Diplomatic pressure is mounting, with some nations considering sanctions against officials responsible for the violence. However, the effectiveness of international intervention remains a subject of intense debate, as Iran's leadership has historically proven resistant to external pressure. Inside Iran, the spirit of the protests remains unbroken. Each act of repression seems to fuel further defiance. The demonstrators are a diverse coalition representing all walks of life: students, factory workers, merchants, and even former government supporters who have grown disillusioned. Women have been at the forefront of many protests, courageously challenging the state's authority and demanding their fundamental rights. For many Iranians, this is a point of no return. They see this uprising not just as a protest, but as a revolution for a better future. The risks are immense. They face arrest, injury, or worse. Yet they continue to take to the streets night after night. They are driven by a deep-seated desire for a life of dignity, freedom, and opportunity, a future they feel has been denied to them for far too long. This is their struggle for the soul of their nation, and they are determined to see it through, no matter the cost. They are calling this the last battle and that the prince will return. The situation is incredibly fluid, and the world is holding its breath to see what happens next. American and Israel troops stand by for any order that may come from their commanders. The courage of the Iranian people in the face of such overwhelming force is a powerful testament to the human desire for freedom. Thank you for watching. We will continue to follow this story and bring you updates as they become available.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and give a thumbs up.